right, I think I'm live. We are trying through my computer today, and it looks like I am. Let's check my phone. Okay, yes, I'm live. All right. Hi, ladies. So I wanted to hop on and do a quick live about a topic I have been kind of circling around with different posts, and I want to just talk about one aspect of it today, and that is why you may find yourself obsessing over an ex. And this can actually be an ex like from a relationship, like a real relationship, or this could just be a man that you dated for a couple months and now you're kind of in this cycle of like thinking about him like all the time and like emotionally feeling the lack of this man in your life and the end of the relationship, or just that this thing didn't go on. So I just want to talk about what is going on here with that when that happens. So, what you'll experience when I say like obsess, I mean like a low level, ongoing, constant, like in the background thinking about him. It's like the thought of him, his name, remembering what it felt like to be with him. You're find yourself constantly like wondering what is he doing. You're imagining being with him. Everything starts to just remind you of him, and there's this like urge to check his social media just to quote unquote like see what he's up to, maybe checking your phone to see if maybe he'll reach out. And behind all of this there's this like unending, intruding, like underlying feeling of anxiety and maybe even an urgency. And you really can't control that this is happening and the thoughts that are coming. So like when you're waking up in the morning, he like will pop into your head pretty quickly, right? As you're going to bed, he's in your head. And then all day long, he's kind of looping there, right? And your mind is not letting him go no matter what you're trying to do. Even if you know it was the wrong relationship and he was the wrong man, it doesn't matter. That like turmoil is still there. And so what I want to say about this, what's important to really understand about what's going on, is that this is actually a symptom of unhealed attachment trauma. So what's going on is actually not about him. He's just a symbol for your unconscious, of the love that you didn't get enough of, the connection that you didn't get enough of earlier in life, right? This relates back to childhood stuff, right? And so with him, you got that feeling of being seen or being loved or not being so alone. Or maybe you didn't even get that feeling, but there was the hope that in the future you would. So sometimes it's not even that you had that with him, but it's like the hope that that would be what you would get from him or with him. So when your thoughts are stuck on him, then your brain is looping in these old wounds that have been activated. Essentially, he's just activated these old wounds that you already have. And often we don't know that any of this stuff is really present for us, that we have these things going on internally, because something has to trigger it for us to experience that, right? So you don't experience this when you're not dating. You don't experience this after you've moved on from that heartbreak until it happens again, right? And that's because it's not the person, it's what's in you. So he is just representing your subconscious wounds, the love, the validation, the connection that you've always so desperately wanted, right? And that is really the low level stuff that's always been there, and him leaving triggered it, right? So it doesn't matter if he wasn't the right partner for you, or that there were major issues with the relationship, or even that it wasn't a real relationship, as in you weren't in an exclusive relationship. And by the way, that happened to me before I really understood what it all meant, right? I would date men for a little bit. We were not exclusive. It would end and it would be crushing. Like I would go through all of that as if I had been in a real relationship with this person. It's almost worse when you weren't in a real relationship with them, because of the loss of what could have been, right? All the future that you were hung on. So your brain essentially is seeing him as the symbol for the source of love, acceptance, connection, and belonging. And it's trauma in you that's like, I want that back. And then we want him back, right? Even if we're like, he was the wrong one, we want him back, right? So when you meet a person who is a match for your love blueprint image of that love and connection you didn't get. Something in him resembles the parent that you didn't get that love from, then your subconscious is attaching to him from wounds from the past, right? From having been ignored, rejected, denied connection and love in some way. And your brain is seeing that man as the representation of that love that you desperately craved and didn't fully get in childhood. So when he disappears, or that activated, and it's constantly looping on him, all about him, because it's trying to tell you, like, we're in danger, right? Because that part of your brain believes that you're going to die without this person, because they represent love and belonging and connection. So from a trauma perspective, this is a normal response to what happened. That you're going through this is normal. It's not a sign of health, though, even though it's normal to have that response, because this is trauma that's been activated, right? But it is a sign that there's trauma, right? So it's a sign that there's this underlying trauma that's been triggered, and that needs to be dealt with. And this is your chance to deal with it, right? So it's just showing you the wounds that need healing. It's showing you your unmet needs. And this gets to be the time to focus on and grieve your history of not having had those needs met in childhood, of feeling disconnected, of feeling not belonging, of not having the emotional connection and emotional attunement that you needed. And it's not about him. He's just a placeholder in your love blueprint. So the blessing in this is that he's given you a choice and a chance now to wake up and say that when this thing gets activated in me, and this, by the way, can happen when we think a man is pulling away or ignoring us, and he's not. It can just get activated by distance with the man, perceived distance, right? But it's not about him at all, right? You get to realize that, like, this is about how I have a history of not having relationships in the past, in pivotal moments in my childhood, that offered the level of emotional connection, to feel loved, to feel validated, to feel seen, to feel loved in this world in the way that I needed. And it doesn't mean my parents were bad or wrong. It just means that for me, I didn't get everything that I needed, and my parents were doing the best that they could, right? And so what we get to do now is just look at the real issues, instead of taking our attention and putting it on him and just, I need to get him back, or I need to get somebody else to fill that hole. It gets to be, I get to look at me now and look at what hole that is, and I get to heal that, right? So he's just activated your trauma in you that was too painful to see or to touch. And so your subconscious is projecting it on him, but it's not about him, right? And so that feeling of longing, that you probably call love, that's not love. That is the triggered wound, right? And so now you get to see it and you get to heal it, right? So when you do, that's when the painful obsessing with this man or any future man will stop. And then you'll get to be this woman who feels connected and safe in her connections with men. She knows how to navigate those triggers when they come up, to have that relationship and that man not take over your life, right? But that you get to be you get to be at peace, you get to be full, you get to feel safe, creative, alive, present. And that's the work. That's the inner work. That's the healing work. That's not the easy work, but that is the work. And it's a skill to be able to be that woman, right? That gets to be learned as a skill. And this is what I coach my clients on with their attachment wounds, the things that get triggered in dating and in relationship. And we work on getting to the root of those things, what's really going on here, and healing the core wounds at that root, so that you stop having your old trauma just continue to be re-triggered in your relationships. When that's healed, then you choose a different man, you attract a different kind of man, and you are able to build a sustainable, really vital, empowering, beautiful relationship with a man, instead of building it from your trauma, which it doesn't never end well, right? So I have spots for one-on-one clients to do this work. to, it's a 3-month or 6-month different container. You get to choose. It's that inner transformative work as well as just the outer stuff that you get to do, the steps that you get to take to attract that person. So we're working on finding and then healing and rewiring what's causing the same patterns that you keep replaying with men. You get to experience dating as easy, as smooth, as effortless, and if that sounds like how could that be possible, I promise you it is possible. This work is what helps do that. So that you can stand in your worth as a woman, so you are really only treated as the prize that you are, and that all of the men who are not seeing you and treating you that way just fall away and they don't become triggers for you anymore, right? So that you can really create a really deep emotional bond with the right man and attract the right relationship for you instead of attracting from the love blueprint with the woundings, right? But really the right man for you. Recognize him, see him, and build that relationship. So I have spots for clients. If this sounds like something that you would like to explore with me, then you can send me a DM. And what we'll do is we will set up a consult call where we'll just talk about like what's going on for you, what are the things that you're seeing, where are you struggling. We'll talk about what working together looks like, answer any questions that you have, and just make sure that it's a really good fit, and then get you enrolled if it is. So send me a message if you are interested in that, and I will see you later. Bye.